it's easy to negotiate with reasonable people. When you're doing a business deal and you sit down and within the first 30 minutes, you're like, you know what? Okay, I think we can get a deal here. Maybe we're not going to like the price, but they seem like they have reason to say, you're thinking this is worth $300 million. It's not worth $300 million. It's $220. We're willing to come at $218 if you go to it. You're out of your mind. This is $400 million. Oh, you're unreasonable. We're walking away. We don't need to. Some of the people over there, you're not dealing with reasonable people to negotiate with. It just doesn't make any sense. But there's a couple of things I want to ask you here. One, Saudi Arabia. If you pull up the map in the Middle East, Rob, just pull up map Middle East. And if we just look at the conditions here and just zoom in. Yeah, just a basic map is good right there. Zoom in. You got Iran there. If you go southeast, you're dealing with Pakistan is on the other side. Afghanistan to the east of you. You're dealing with Turkmenistan. You got Azerbaijan, Iraq to your west, Kuwait and Saudi right across the Persian Gulf, and all these other things that you're looking at, right? Okay. Saudi Arabia is MBS, and I'm specifically talking MBS here, Mohammed Bin Salman, who seems very ambitious, okay? And he wants to make it a safe place for Ronaldo to choose to go play there, right? Okay, so Messi said no. All the money in the world, Messi said no. Did Messi say no because his wife and family didn't feel safe going there? Maybe. That's not good for him. Live Golf, Greg Norman, all the stuff that they were doing with Live Golf. Hey, come golf over here. Phil Mickelson, I'm going to go over there. Tiger, stay PGA, right? And he's doing what he's doing here. But if he has the aspirations that he has, which, by the way, Saudi Arabia, 50 years, what they've been able to do, progress. And now they like to have the reputation of one of the safer places to be at. Great, to the point where Ronaldo wants to be there. He doesn't want to see chaotic times in the Middle East. And his argument may be, well, listen, I can't do anything about my neighbors, but my house is safe. And my house is Saudi Arabia. We're safe. That's like me living in a gated community, or me living in a community where your house may be safe because the family's good, but right next to you are assassins and people who kill for a living and drug dealers and all this stuff. Doesn't matter how safe your house is. The surrounding area is super chaotic, right? Somebody like him, that he has to almost like play the, man, I kind of want to support Israel, Abraham's Accord, but at the same time, I don't want to upset Palestine because they're right here as well because I'm selling customers, and they're also in the element of trying to please everybody. But would he and Saudi be one of the places that would like to see a regime change taking place in Iran?
I think the mindset, and I'm not guessing, because I had the opportunity to meet with MBS several years ago when he was visiting in Washington, and I happened to have an opportunity to sit and talk to him. It's a one-time meeting, but as a member of the younger generation within the Saudi royal family, and I had met 4 decades ago, his uncles, the previous generation at the time. And I don't see that only in Saudi. I see in many of the other countries, all of these younger generation of princes who are educated in a Western sense and have a totally different outlook that used to be before in terms of, again, that sense of modernity, that sense of going towards as far as the status that versus women had in Saudi Arabia 10 years ago compared to this is all under revision, under vision that he's bringing in. And he was telling me, he remembered, not that he remembered, but he knew through the experiences that Iran had at the time before the revolution, the kind of relationship that we had with Saudi Arabia. I'm talking about Iran-Saudi relations and how everything turned for the worse since the revolution. And as a matter of fact, Khomeini was extremely vocal from the very beginning in pretty much challenging the Saudi royal family as whether or not they ought to be or have the legitimacy to be the custodian of the 2 holy mosques. That's where this whole Shiite Sunni type conflict started to in the region and sort of creating that sense of tension and hostility from the get-go. And therefore saying that of course, we know how different the world will be once we are rid of this system. Go back to an era where we had those kind of relationship, and of course, so much more, which I truly think is attainable. Because back then, the whole Palestinian issue and everything that existed, in fact, the assassination of Anwar Sadat as a result of his suing for peace and going towards the direction of having peace between Egypt and Israel and all that. I mean, all of these factors that, again, to some extent you brushed upon it in terms of the chaos and conflict. But I think that right now, the whole body language, the whole determination is how can we progress towards regional cooperation. So you have to eliminate the element that creates chaos. You have to eliminate the element that creates instability. You have to eliminate the element that is creating violence and uncertainty. Guess what? The only regime in the area that is hell-bent on that and is actually behind all of this instability is nothing other than the Islamic regime in Tehran. They are the ones constantly creating chaos. They are the ones constantly creating instability. They are the ones fomenting terrorism, radicalism. And after all, it's part of their sacred mission of exporting this ideology with the ultimate goal of creating this modern-day Shiite caliphate. That's basically the mission statement of this regime. Khomeini said it very clear. Khomeini said to I don't know if it was an Italian reporter or some reporter on his way as he was flying back to Tehran, what are your sentiments after 15 years in exile of returning to Iran? You know what he said? One word. Nothing. Nothing was his answer. No sentiment. Because to him, Iran is not even the issue. It was the ummat. It was all about the world of Islam, borderless. It was not even in the interest of the nation. That's what he said. And you know, that word ominously is today in the mindset of Iranians. Hiç, meaning nothing in Farsi.
Yep.
You have no sentiments. And then you look at the kind of leaders who today say, what can we do for our own countries, our own respective countries? But wouldn't it be easier if we did it in collaboration and together? I mean, it's a simple, rational expectation. Does it pose new challenges? Yes, it does. But there are good problems to have. But if you have a constant antagonist that doesn't allow for peace to actually happen, doesn't allow for having what could by now have existed had we not had the regime in Iran between the Palestinians and the Israelis in the two-state solution, for instance. Why has it been delayed? Because there are those who don't have interest in having stability and peace in the region, and they are at work. So there is a true battle going on between those who are committed to good relationship, to stability, and those who are against it. One side has to win, Patrick.